2. This morning, we are opening the meeting for the special agenda item. And the special agenda item is 2A, consider the following resolutions regarding the November 5th, 2019 special election and authorizing the city manager to execute all related documents. 1, a resolution calling and ordering a special election for November 5th, 2019, and providing for the holding of a joint election to be administered by the Tom Green County Election Administration. And 2, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an interlocal agreement for joint election with other parties under the Tom Green County Master Interlocal Agreement. Julia, you're on.
As we've discussed at some of the past council meetings, we are looking at calling a special election that would allow us to use the principle of the Lake Nasworthy Trust Fund. And so this item is just calling an election with the items on the proposition being the Lake Nasworthy quality of life items, and then also the sewer project that we've been hearing about from Allison Strube.
Teresa, do you want to make comment on this special agenda item in terms of the original or the Lake Nasworthy Trust Fund and the legality of our being able to utilize these monies?
Yes, ma'am. The charter allows that we can utilize these monies provided that we do take it to an election. So that is the process that we're utilizing to authorize the use of those funds at this time.
And so the Lake Nasworthy Trust Fund language does not limit it specifically to any single project?
No, ma'am. Not if we take it to an election. It does not.
Okay. Thank you. Billy, I see a hand rising. So
yes, I just have a question. I noticed that it said, we would reserve $6 million for the quality of life projects and the remainder for the sewer project.
Yes, ma'am.
So is there no requirement that we leave a minimum amount in the fund or not?
No, there is no requirement that we leave a minimum amount in the fund. That fund will replenish itself as we sell additional lake lots, however, so it's not like we're getting rid of the fund and it's going to forever be gone.
Thank you.
Do I have questions and or comments from anyone on council? With no questions, no comments, do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Lane has moved to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
And a second by Tommy. Do I have public comment? If you would, please come forward, state your name, and let us know who you are. Thank you.
Council.
Good morning.
I'm Danny Kaiser. I'm a resident out at the lake. And I want to make an overall statement just about the lake. I've been out there for a long time, and I was here when we went through the trust fund and selling the lake lots and whatnot. So I just want to do my overall view of the lake and what I think needs to be thought about. And I may or may not be wrong on all the facts or right on all the facts, but here we go. If you look at the water data, I'm going to talk about several different things, not just this fund money, because I think that there's some other needs that we may need to make a minimum. I firmly believe that if you're going to do this, you should be leaving at least $10 million in there as a starter amount for some other projects. So I want to go back first to 2011 and 2012, and if you go to YouTube and do Lake Nasworthy, you'll see a little YouTube video that we made that day, and the day that it rained. And I think we all know that day. If I can get you guys just to think back to what your feelings were that day. We had months of water left. Everybody was scared to death. I know I walked out in the backyard and watched that water go down, 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 and it was going down faster every day, and there was nothing that we can do about it. So what that boiled everything down to is life itself. Without that water, this town is not going to exist, period. You guys, some of you were here, you fought hard to find water rights, which you did, and now we don't need them. wonderful. We got, home run hitters in the dugout that we don't even need to use. That's great. But there's about 4,000 acre feet, in my estimation, of capacity in the lake. The lake itself, over time, is going to end up being the number one draw to the community, and I don't think that'll ever change. It really is now, but it's going to be that way in its full capacity shortly, 10, 15 years from now. What I mean by that is that's where everybody's going to want to live. That's where you're going to bring in people from out of town with big money. They going to want to put in businesses and whatnot. It is what it is. It's beautiful. But we got to have all the capacity that we can get. In 1967 and 1969, Gene Scotty, who ran Lake Nasworthy Marina for about 40, 50 years, who worked 7 days a week, is one of the great pillars of our community. He anchored a boat ramp at 65, or ski jump, at 65 feet deep, right to the left side. What are we doing here? Time's
The
up.
reason the button, yes, is because time is up. So I'm going to let you continue that with that statement, and if you can add just a few more points,
Okay.
Danny, that would be great.
And so at 65 feet deep, now it's 10 feet deep. If you take a look at that, it actually was 65 in 1967, and then it went to 55 in 1969. And he anchored that ski jump. So we've got, 55 to 45 feet of mud in that center part of the lake. And if you do a little math on it, I'm probably going to be a little over, but I'm thinking around 4,000 acre feet out there. In 2012, or if that was the year when it rained, that's about all the water we had left. So I think we really need, while we've got the water, to take a look at that capacity that we have right there. And it was Paul Alexander told us at homeowners meeting that he did a study where what holds water best, Twin Buttes, Nasworthy, or the river. And it was deemed that the lake was our best holding pond. I know we've talked about the Arroyo and spending money there. I think that money would be better spent in getting all of the silt. And this is fine silt that can be taken out easily. It's just silted in. I think we should use that and really think about the capacity there at the lake. And as far as the trust money goes, I'm not 100% behind it, but we did have a good conversation last night, and I know that the principle can't be used, but I know the wording was for the interest to be used. There's projects out there that have never been touched. There's a boat ramp on Red Bluff Road. It's Red Bluff Ramp Road. That boat ramp has been down for 15 years. There's a gate across it. 3 weekends ago, a girl got hit by a propeller right off the edge of that ramp. There's a floating boat dock that, with all the waves, just goes crazy. None of the emergency people that came out to help could do hardly anything. It was crazy sitting there watching it from the boat. They're on that dock. The waves are coming in. They've got a girl that's cut up really bad. They can't get her out. They couldn't get down the ramp because there's a bar across the ramp. And that money is to fix that type of thing, to fix the riprap. You've probably got 20 to 30% deterioration on all the islands. And you'll hear that you can't cut the reeds down and put the riprap up, the big rocks around the islands, because you can't get rid of the reeds. Everywhere we riprapped several years ago, the reeds are as thick as thieves in there. So that's debunked. But I would like you to think about capacity, and I'd like you to think about leaving $10 million in there instead of $6 million, if this is what you're going to go forward with. And you may be able to get a few more people behind you on it, but I guess that's all I have. And if anybody has any questions, or you'd like to drive around out there in a boat and take a good long look, if you'd like to set a meeting up, I'm open for that, and I would love to visit further with what we're going to do with the lake. It's going to end up being our number one draw, and it'll never go back after that. So thank you.
Danny. Any further public comment? No further public comment. We will take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? With none opposed, motion passes. May I have a motion for adjournment on this special agenda?
So moved.
Billy moved, and who seconded? Second. And second by Lucy. Everyone in favor of that? I guess so, 7-0.